Hello, my name is David Arnold of Team Johannisthal. I will be demoing User Story 1, which enhanced Memoranda by providing password protection, a feature we thought was important considering today's climate. Upon launching Memoranda, the user is presented with a login screen where they must enter the proper credentials in order to continue onto the workspace. The program does not allow the user to bypass the login by simply hitting the X. You'll see it takes you completely out. So I'll relaunch Memoranda. Also, if the user enters the wrong credentials, they will be presented with an error message. Here, please use credentials provided above, and you will see that the username and password has been hard-coded. The registration button has been grayed out. That is for a feature to be implemented in future sprints. But if you enter the correct username and password, it will take you to the program. I did also want to take a moment and present you with our sprint backlog. You'll see the out of the 18 tasks we completed 13. We had 5 open tasks, none of which had gotten assigned. 2 regarding US Story 1, these are standalone features, didn't affect us being able to implement the login page. Also, User Story 6, there was 2 tasks that did not get assigned as far as PSP forms, and then launching executables. This was also a task where the intent was to allow the user to set a default mail application for launching mail.
Hi, it's Robert Steele of Group Johannisthal. I'm going to demo User Story 8, launching of executables, task number 39, and User Story 9, English and Spanish language in the UI converted to English. So I'm going to demo the first one, which is the non-English language. Here you can see the non-English text in the pop box and under events. And in our current working branch, I have removed all UI elements that are not English and converted them to English. Same pop-up box as the image, converted to English. And now I'm going to demo the other user story, which is User Story 9, which the user would type in for a browser resource, so google.com, and it would ask for the user to find a web browser executable. We removed that logic and changed it to creating a handler for the URL, along with launching the respective executable automatically. So we type in the internet shortcut now, that dialog box will no longer pop up, and it'll actually autofill in. If I double click on it, it'll load it back up in a new window.
This is Brenda Reardon. I was working on User Story number 15, Editing Sticker on Agenda tab, Task 29, change the action on the Edit button for customized stickers to bring up the regular edit box. So the change was, when Edit is selected, you get brought to the regular Edit screen. Previously, when you hit Edit on a customized background sticker, the color picker would be the first thing to show up. You'd have to cancel out of it in order to get to the Edit screen. The second user story I worked on was User Story number 28, Change Agenda tab into a dashboard. User Story 31, rename the tab. As you can see, the Agenda tab is no longer present, and Dashboard is the name. There was also some back-end code that was changed in order to remove the instances of Agenda tab and change them into Dashboard. Thank you.
Hey, this is Cord Reardon. For User Story 16, delete button for sticker on Agenda tab, task 26, change the icon from an X to a trash can. And for User Story 28, change Agenda tab into a dashboard, task 42, select a new icon for the tab that is dashboard related.
My name is Matthew Cleary, and I was responsible for User Story 6 PSP forms, which began with task number 22, create a defect recording log. I began by creating a defect type and project phase enumerations, which were then part of a defect interface and implementation, which then tied into a defect log interface and implementation, and those defect logs are then tied into the project they're associated with. I also had task number 23, create a project estimate worksheet, which began by creating a code module interface and implementation to track the different estimated code modules of the user, which would include their associated estimated lines of code and the actual line of code for tracking, and a resource object to hold the project planning diagram uploaded by the user. Each of these were tied to an estimate, implementation, and interface, which are also then associated with the project. On the user interface, I tied each of these in on the left control panel, and currently clicking on them leads to temporary holding screens until user interface is fully implemented in another sprint.
Hey guys, this is Thomas Curry, and I was working on user stories 10 and 14 for this sprint. Task 40 was associated with user story 10, and that was to get Memoranda to close properly. Because before, when you would click the X right here, go to File, Exit, it would just hide the process, and the user interface would shut down, and you would still have that process running. And you could actually go into the preferences to change that, to fix it, but I set it up so that it just automatically, when you hit the X, it saves and shuts down all the processes. And user story 14 was associated with task 41, which was to get Memoranda to minimize properly. Now, before, when you would minimize Memoranda, it would not go to the taskbar here. It would just hide itself completely, and the process would still be running. And this you could not fix through going through the preferences, so I fixed that, so now it properly minimizes and properly closes. And that's what I did for this sprint.